Families. We all have one. They are the source of our greatest joys and some of our keenest sorrows. The family is where our most basic need to love and be loved is nurtured. In the family, men and women learn to sacrifice, love, and serve. Children learn to value work, respect, and responsibility. The natural family is the fundamental unit of society. Social science data clearly affirms the widespread yearning for an enduring family. Some years back, it became evident that there were voices, subtle, quiet voices, who claimed they could take the difficulties out of life by eliminating our responsibilities, especially in families. Their objective was to relieve women of their oppressive roles as wives and mothers, and men of their responsibilities to provide support and security for their families. They used words like equality and liberation to create a feel-good motive for destroying the very basis of civilization, the family. Out of that darkness came an inspired ray of light and hope. In 1978, guided by a love for the family and the recognition that these voices could destroy not only families but entire civilizations, two individuals nearly a nation apart saw the need to put the family back to a level of prominence and protection. Susan Roylance of Washington and Jan Clark of South Carolina founded separate organizations with different leadership and activities, but united in one purpose: strengthening the family. Over the next several years, and under the influence of great leadership, these two organizations merged and United Families was born. By 1983, under the name United Families of America, it was one of the fastest-growing pro-family organizations in America. In 1995, at the Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing, the international threat to the family became evident to the leaders of United Families. The family had been left unprotected at the United Nations, as the major proponents of the anti-family agenda had gathered there to affect the laws of the world regarding families. Few, if any, voices were present to defend the family. United Families recognized this critical need and went to work. The name United Families International was adopted as the focus turned to protecting the family on the international level. There are numerous inspiring stories of strategic UFI presence leading to great victories, protecting families around the world. Perhaps the 1996 story in Istanbul, Turkey, hailed as the Miracle of Istanbul, is the most often quoted, for it was this event that stifled anti-family forces as they attempted to dismantle the family and seriously threaten its stability worldwide. Some 30 UFI members attended this event, and speeches by Tom Christensen and Richard Wilkins literally stopped anti-family forces in their tracks and enabled UFI to emerge as a premier leader on pro-family policy at the United Nations. Since that time, UFI has used official accreditation through the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations to promote respect for the family, marriage, life, parents, religious and cultural values, and national sovereignty. UFI is one of the few organizations that has chosen to carve out a place for strong pro-family advocacy at the United Nations diplomatic table. Our international relationships include current and former United Nations ambassadors and delegates, representing countries as diverse as Mexico, Latvia, Morocco, and Egypt. Our United Nations negotiating guide, created by Susan Roylance and presently in its fourth printing, is one of the most widely used tools at the United Nations. The guide was designed to help delegates around the world negotiate documents that preserve and protect the family. The U.S. delegation has called it indispensable to the pro-family movement. The international focus of United Families brought to light other destructive issues facing families today. One of the most serious crises of this century is the HIV/AIDS pandemic. Over 12 million children in Africa alone have been orphaned by this destructive disease that is rooted in family breakdown. AIDS is spreading at an unprecedented rate, Estimates indicate that over 20 million children will be orphaned by 2010 unless something is done to stop it now. Once again inspired, Susan Roylance recruited the help of Wendy Sheffield to create an educational program for Africa's children that would help them make choices to stay HIV/AIDS free. UFI immediately saw the value and potential for the program, and by 2002 began implementing Stay Alive in countries throughout Africa. Stay Alive is an HIV/AIDS prevention program that focuses on educating children between the ages of 9 and 14 concerning the consequences of personal choices and the importance of family structure. Through this program, children, parents, guardians, and teachers are invited to consider and discuss how present choices impact the health and happiness of their future families. Having been taught in 10 African countries to nearly 1 million children, Stay Alive has literally saved thousands of lives. One such life was that of 9-year-old Lynette. She and her siblings lost their mother to AIDS and were raised in an abusive home following her death. The Stay Alive program changed the lives of Lynette and her siblings by giving them hope for a better future. In addition, their guardian was so moved by the teachings that abuse in the home ceased. Lynette and her siblings now have hope that they too can live a long, loving life. Lynette wrote in her Stay Alive journal, "The Stay Alive program has taught me how to help others, love and care for others, and how to keep my body free from HIV/AIDS. The delivery cost of this life-saving program is minimal per child, and UFI continues to work towards taking Stay Alive to children everywhere because every child deserves the chance to live a long and loving life."